as you think are applicable. The rest 2 questions are short answer questions which I am seeking. What are the 3 quality issues which you find in the question papers? And then 3 suggestions which you would like to provide to improve upon the quality of question paper. So just tell me, are you able to access? G.
Ma'am, I have shared that link.
Just a minute. Let's ask the group whether they have been able to access or not. So this is our. So any audience member can let me know whether they are able to access the Google form or not. Any response from the audience? Hanji, audience members, anyone can give me the reply if you are able to access the Google form or you are not able to access.
Dr. जी ये WhatsApp group में डाला ना?
Hanji, it is in the WhatsApp group and you can just click on the link. You will be taken to the Google form. And I have got a reply from one of the colleagues that it is available. If it is accessible, then 5 to 7 minutes are available to you. Kindly respond to the 3 questions which are part of that small Google form.
Actually, I'm trying to open, but it is saying it needs permission.
Permission? 1 minute. आपको परमिशन नहीं दी हुई है? Oh, automatically no. Just send form. Just setting. Manage the responses settings to the response setting. It is open.
It can be used by.
Just a minute. Send
owners organization only.
Restricted. Oh. Just a minute. Now kindly try. Now you'll be able to access.
Yes, ma'am. Now it is.
Hanji, it will be available to you.
Yes.
Hanji, only 3 questions. A good quality question papers needs to be. So some of the characteristics are enlisted here. If you can put a tick mark. There's a multiple response type. There is no option 5 as such. So even this can be deleted. The second question is write any 3 major issues related to the quality of question paper, which you have observed, experienced, or you think it exists in majority of the question paper. Those 3 quality issues you can write down.
Hello.
Ji, ma'am.
Ma'am, in question 1, I am unable to pick more than one answer.
Drop. You were not able to multiple response. Nahi hai? Oh. No. Sorry. It is drop down. Na? Drop down mein to you can pick up as many as you can.
No, ma'am. In drop down, we can opt only one.
ना तो मल्टीपल रिस्पॉन्स में कौन सा आ रहा है आपका? check boxes. Right. So kindly excuse me. This the very first question. It is a multiple response type. You can tick mark as many options as are written there. जल्दी में I think I made a mistake. Okay. And the third question is very simple. Keeping in view the quality issues which you have enlisted, write any 3 suggestions to improve the quality of question papers. Okay. Still not. Okay. Thank you very much. One response is there. I'll request other members to kindly hurry up. We have another 3 minutes left with us. So we are at present so many members. So 19, 620. Okay. Three responses. We have about 45 members. So at least I expect 40-45 members to reply to this questionnaire. Only 3 responses. 4. What happened? These are simple ones. 5. Okay. Only 2 minutes more are left. So good. We have got 5. We are stuck up at 5. Okay. Six. Going slow. 7. Only 7. क्या हो गया? Any difficulty experienced by the audience members? Is it too difficult to answer? Yes. Chalo, if not interested in doing that, maybe let me check 7. I'll request as much you have completed, you can submit. Only 7. Not a good response, not very encouraging. जी बाकी सब मेंबर्स क्या कर रहे हैं? 8. बहुत लेट रिस्पॉन्स आ क्या हो हो गया? If you are able to access, it doesn't take more than 5 to 7 minutes to write this. 10 तो हो जाओ. 1/4 भी नहीं आ रहे. 9. Okay. Chalo friends, I think we have got only 9 responses. I don't know whether it is after the lunch, people are not taking the initiative to fill in the performer. So let me go to the responses, because if we look at, and I have also shared my presentation with you, and you will all agree, as I said in the last session also, that written tests, they are primarily used to assess the student performance in theory as class test, at mid-semester test, or as end-term test. So our examination system or evaluation system is heavily loaded with the written test. And the quality of written test or assessment is dependent upon the quality of question paper. And if we have good quality of question paper, which adheres to the characteristics of good assessment, then we are likely to be very confident in evaluating or assessing our students' performance, and will be doing a justice, and the performance levels would be indicating the knowledge or the skill possessed by the individual. In this case, question paper, so we are talking in terms of knowledge only. So what are those characteristics which need to be present in any good quality question paper? So here you can see that any assessment tool, first characteristic is it ought to be valid. Now, any response from the audience member, what do we understand by this term validity? Over to the audience members, what do we understand by the term validity? Because 50% of you have already said a good quality question paper needs to be valid. Now the response is about 55%. Anybody who would like to explain, what do we understand by this valid? Yes?
In my opinion, valid question means it should be, its answer should be very, very feasible, and it should be the student should be able to do within that time frame, and it should not be imposing some critical challenges. Like what is meant to be, it should satisfy.
May I know the name, sir?
I'm Avdesh Kumar, Dr. Avdesh Kumar.
Okay, Dr. Avdesh, you are partially correct. Anybody else who would like to supplement the answer given by Dr. Avdesh? Ji. Anyone who has a different... Ji, ma'am, your name please.
I think, yeah, my name is Dr. Bharti.
Ji.
I think validity refers to the accuracy of measurement, whatever actually we are going to give.
Fine.
So it should be measurable, and concept or conclusion or measurement, whatever is there, it should be measurable in terms.
Okay, thank you very much. Just going by the 2 responses which I have got, validity in nutshell refers to whether the test measures what it intends to measure. That means if you are preparing a paper, question paper, with respect to database management system or RDBMS, whatever. So if you are preparing a question paper for that, all the questions need to be related to that particular course. All the content matter which has been delivered or which is expected that learner would learn, the questions should come from that relevant content matter. So the adequacy of coverage of content is the first indicator of the validity of a question paper. The second indicator of validity is the kind of levels of learning outcomes that are assessed by the questions. Now, say for example, if the question paper consists of 5 questions to be attempted in all, and maybe you have 2 parts in each question, so 10 questions are there in all, how many questions actually assess the remembering level cognitive ability on the part of the learner? How many questions assess understanding level on the part of the learner? Then how many questions at the application, analysis, evaluating and creating level? There has to be a balance as far as the learning outcomes are concerned. If the course learning outcomes are from remembering to creating level, all the 6 levels need to be assessed by the question paper. If your course is such that you cannot go beyond the evaluation or analysis level, then you must ensure that remembering to analysis or remembering to evaluation level learning outcomes are assessed. Right? If we look at the course outcomes, then they are application and up to the evaluation and creating level. So application to creating level, it is going to be the end term test. If it is going to be the class test, then it can have remembering to creating level. Then the third indicator of validity is whether the question is so explicitly stated that the intentions of the paper setter are clear to the learner. That means the interpretation of the question by the learner is same as by the paper setter. So if the person has written is it on my side or am I audible now? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Is the PowerPoint seen by the participants? Is it visible?
No, no.
No, ma'am.
No? क्या हो गया? हाँ जी.
went wrong.
Yes, the connection was lost. Is it now visible?
Now it is visible. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
it is
you.
visible.
So I was talking about the indicators of validity, and the third indicator of validity is that the questions which are included in the question paper, they are interpreted
Madam,
in the same manner. Ji?
Madam, I think wait for 2 minutes because participants are connecting.
Okay.
Only 13 are there.
Okay. So I think something went wrong with the Microsoft team.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We can wait. Yes.
Okay. Just give me a signal when I have to start.
Yes, ma'am.
So how many? I think there are 2 call in progress. Dismiss. You couldn't showing this post until you return to the
Ma'am, you may now start.
Hanji. Okay, thank you so much. So friends, going back to the indicators of validity, the intentions of the paper setter needs to be very clear to the learner, and the learner should be able to interpret the question in the same manner as the paper setter. For example, if the question paper includes compare 4G with the 5G. Now here when you say compare, you are expecting an answer where similarities and dissimilarities both are likely to be discussed or explained by the student. But the student, when say compare, he only differentiates but does not bring the points of similarity. There is a confusion. So the term which is used need to be clear to both the examiner as well as the learner. I've taken a simple example. So compare is a simple term which is to be interpreted. If it is written differentiate between, then it simply means the student has to highlight the points of differences between 4G and 5G. So the intentions of the paper setter need to be clear. Another indicator of validity is the question which is framed is technically correct. The language which has been used is technically correct, and many times we come across the numericals where it is written assume data. If there is some missing data, assume that. Why? When a paper setter is preparing a question paper and he knows what are the quantities which will be needed to compute another quantity, that data must be made available, and otherwise what is going to happen, different students will be taking up different data, and then they'll be calculating the quantity. Now that will increase the job of a person who's evaluating the answer scripts. So validity also means technical accuracy as well as grammatical accuracy of the questions which are included in the question paper. So these are some of the indicators of validity. And the second characteristic of good quality question paper is it needs to be reliable. Now when I say reliable, it refers to the consistency of results. That means the dependability of results. Now, for example, when a student comes to us after completing his 12th and we pose very simple questions in the class, if the student is unable to answer those questions, the first thought that goes in the mind is, oh, he came with 80% marks, but he doesn't have the knowledge of the basic terminology. What does it indicate? The achievement does not reflect the knowledge on the part of the learner. So reliability refers to whether the scores which are obtained by the students, they are true indicators of their knowledge. And when we say reliability, to differentiate between the validity and reliability, reliability is a necessary condition for good quality question paper, but not a sufficient condition. If a question paper is valid, it ought to be reliable. But if it is reliable, it may or may not be valid. Just to give you example, if I am carrying a watch, it is 10 minutes faster. I know if the time is 3:30 and my watch indicates 3:40. If it is 4:30, it is going 4:40. So I am very confident that my watch is 10 minutes faster than the Indian Standard Time, but I can rely on that. It is reliable, but it is not valid because it is not indicating the standard time which should be there, that is Indian Standard Time. So anything which is reliable may or may not be valid, but anything which is valid ought to be reliable. And reliability also refers to inter-rater reliability and intra-rater reliability. Now when I say inter-rater, that means if the same examiner evaluates the answer scripts, there will not be marked difference in the scores obtained by the student. And inter-rater reliability refers to if more than two or more than two examiner, they evaluate the answer scripts, then there will not be marked differences in the scores obtained by the students in 2 or 3 evaluation or assessments. So reliability is another essential characteristic of good quality question paper. Then the next one is objectivity. The greater the objectivity in scoring, greater is the reliability or higher is the reliability. For example, the true false, the multiple choice questions, the alternate response type questions, they are more objective, and if you score the answer script or the machine scores the answer script, the score of the individual would remain the same. But in case we have short answer questions, we have the restricted essay type questions, or we have extended essay type questions, the greater subjectivity creeps in. So the duty or the responsibility of the paper setter is to bring in more objectivity in breaking down the essay type, the extended essay type questions, and convert those extended essay into restricted if possible. For example, explain the function of various parts of the IC engine. This is open-ended question which is given to the students, and this is extended essay type question. But this question can be changed into explain the functions of the following 5 parts of the IC engine, and those 5 parts are enlisted below. So greater objectivity is required as far as the question is concerned. And the next one is the practicality or the feasibility. That means question paper which is designed, you should be able to administer that question, and students should be able to complete that question paper within the time available. Or if you really want to give that question paper for 1 hour, it must be 1 hour required on the part of the learner to attempt that. It is not that student require 1.5 hours to attempt, and as a teacher you require. You need to keep in account the time required by an average student or below average if they are available in the class, how much maximum time you can provide for a question to be attempted, and you should be sure that the question can be attempted within that available time. So let me just go back to your responses first and see how many of you have really given. So 56% of you agree that question paper need to be reliable and it should be feasible. Whereas only 38% of you have said, 39 kar lijiye, 39% of you agree with me that it has to be valid, and objectivity only 22% of you. I simply surprised at your response, because I still remember when we were students and there used to be a difference of 1 mark or 2 mark with the other student, we used to look at the response and we used to raise voices if the answer was the same. So the objectivity, that means teacher was giving the same mark to the students who have attempted the question in the similar manner. So all these 4 are the required characteristics of good assessment. A good quality assessment need to be valid, reliable, objective, and practicable. And finally, we say any assessment tool which is used should be utilized. So utility is another characteristic. That means you should be able to use the results of your assessment. I'll come to it when we proceed further. Now, as far as the quality of question paper is concerned, the very first thing which is observable in most of the question paper is the inadequate coverage of content. Why this happens? Because most of the universities, they allow external choices. But MMUT, I found that they have made it, all the 5 questions are compulsory. But those 5 questions may or may not cover the entire content of the course which has been designed. So the very first objection to the quality of question paper is it has low validity on account of inadequate coverage of content. The second is there is lot of stress on testing lower level abilities. Now let me just quickly go to the 10 question papers and share with you a Word file, because at present I don't have, these are available in the Word format. So I'll just share with you, this is one paper which is on environmental engineering. Are you able to see that? Are you able to see?
No, not yet, ma'am.
नहीं आया क्यों? ये पावर पॉइंट 2 चीजें शेयर नहीं कर सकते हो आप?
Ma'am, I think not at the same time, ma'am.
At a time, one screen you may see. Screen sharing. If there is an option of a screen sharing, please share the screen. Not
entire screen नहीं करते हैं?
Entire screen, ma'am. You share the entire screen and
वो एक मिनट, just a minute, ये तो प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. क्या हो गया? This is stop sharing. ये stop sharing में कैसे होएगा? एक मिनट, open share की तो
just click on the Word file, ma'am. It will be shared.
हाँ जी, मैं वही जा रही हूँ, दोबारा आ रही हूँ यहाँ पे. This is the Word file, right? But all these question papers will not be shared. ये question paper है, okay. So is it now visible? अगर ये आपको visible है तो अभी इसको मैं click करती हूँ तो is it visible है? So अब देखिए, this is a question paper on environmental engineering, and here, हाँ जी,
List file is displayed, ma'am. Open this file, this question paper.
यही कर रहा है मैंने. Is it? It's not visible.
We can see, ma'am, list of paper. Like
Maybe
I'm seeing the folder, actually the content, but not the question paper, ma'am.
Not the question paper. ये क्या हो गया आज? I think Microsoft team has some problems with me. Okay, just a minute. We'll be wasting time.
I will do it for you, ma'am.
Just a minute. Just stop sharing. एक minute. ये दोबारा करते हैं and the Word file को share करते हैं. Is it now available?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So here you can see a paper which is of environmental engineering, and the very first thing I'm going to discuss with you is that why I say that stress is on lower level abilities. Now, if you look at the question number 1, define water demand, it is nothing but the question at the remembering level. When you say discuss the significance, it is nothing but understanding level. If you go by using a logistic curve whose census data are given, the person has to predict, it is nothing but again applying a known formula, it is understanding level. Then summarize various kinds of water resources, there it is again understanding. Discuss structural requirements, understanding. Estimate the hydraulic. If the situation is new, it is application, otherwise it is only at the understanding level. Enumerate various considerations, again understanding level. Name various types of intakes and discuss. Part of it is remembering and then it is understanding level. Then you can see that attempt any to discuss and then mention the general design guidelines, again at understanding. Distinguish, again at understanding. Enumerate, understanding. Discuss, again at the understanding level. I'll come to why I have made them red, discuss, discuss, discuss. And then you can see all discussed. These are all at the understanding level questions. There is no question which goes at the application except one or the other. Then we can see, let me go if I can open up here, BC, then BC 19. Okay, BC 19, I'm just giving you another random question paper which is from civil engineering. This is building construction and planning, estimation and costing. Now again, if I have tried to analyze this question, again you will see why is it important, why should a limited amount, again at understanding level, if the mud content is this, what kind of impact will it have, again understanding, what are the common masonry bricks, again at the enlist or agar enlist hai, remembering hai, explain hai, understanding hai. What demands does, again at the understanding level, how wood is classified, please list the characteristics and usages. So it is part remembering, another understanding. Then you have a question, explain the need is understanding. Prepare an approximate estimate is if it is a new problem, it is at application, otherwise understanding. Explain center line method, it is at the understanding level. Then you can see explain the types.
Again you
we are able to see the same file, ma'am.
Same file?
Yes, ma'am.
Kaun si file? Not able to see this file?
We are seeing BC 26.
Environmental engineering question paper we are seeing.
Second question paper.
Okay, एक मिनट. मुझे लग रहा है ये ना entire screen share कर दीजिए आप उधर से. There is always a provision that you can share the entire screen.
I will share the question paper, ma'am.
जी फिर आप कर दो. मुझे लग रहा है there is some problem coming in because it is going by one file at a time.
Okay, ma'am. I'll do it for you.
But वो ये वाला जो क्वेश्चन पेपर है ये आपको आप देख सकते हो?
Just wait a minute, ma'am.
चलो मुझे लगता है आप छोड़ दो या मैं बोल देती हूँ. They may not be able to see the file. अगर नहीं हो रहा तो get time also.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, but others they have total sharing of your screen. ये क्यों नहीं आ रहा? Give control अभी आपने दिया तो अभी देगा नहीं?
Actually, it has been stopped from admin side, ma'am.
एक मिनट open share total. अच्छा ये पीछे से ही बंद करके रखा हुआ है. Allow नहीं हो सकता. Okay, never mind. So friends, what I'll do is मैंने analysis तो किया. I'll just read out for you. Maybe you are not able to see the question paper. I'm going to read it. So here you can see the second question which arises regarding the quality is that it is laying stress on testing lower level abilities on the part of the learner. So in the also I said 80 to 85% of the weightage is given to the lower level abilities. Only 50% weightage is given to application and higher than application level abilities. So one has to actually look into the 10 papers I analyzed, except 3 or 4. There is one question which is at the application level. Rest of the questions are only at the remembering and understanding level. Then another thing which we can see is asking trivial things. Now, when I say somebody to write a full form, write the measuring units, or write the formula for this, or define something, these are very small things which a person needs to know. So less weightage should go to all these things, and greater weightage need to be given to application and higher than application level. Then incorrect forming of question. Now let me just share again, otherwise it will not make sense to you. Let me share the file with you because यहाँ पे share तो करना ही पड़ेगा, नहीं तो आपको चलेगा नहीं. Let me, this is BCE, so all files, if I open, maybe you are able to see that. Okay, so here, are you able to see this word file now? ये हर बार करना पड़ेगा. Okay, here you can see. Okay, are you able to see now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so here why I have picked up question paper this, building construction and planning. Now you see, it is simply written why is it important to study the properties. Important to study the property, explain, why can't I simply write, explain the importance of studying the properties of the building materials. Because why is it important is an oral question which can be posed in the class, but it is a written test. So what is expected from the learner? And if you look at the learning outcomes, you always write with an action verb. And if you simply translate the learning outcome into a question, that is, explain the importance of studying the properties of building material, the learner is also clear what is to be done. Likewise, you can see the second question, which is, why should a limited amount of gypsum be added into Portland cement clinker? One word. Now, why should? It could be one word answer or it could be explanation built. Now here, the person has to make it clear whether you want him to just write in a word or you want an explanation. Likewise, the third question, what kind of impact will it have on the properties of concrete? So why can't we write, explain the impact of the content which is high on sand on the properties of concrete? What are the common masonry bricks? So here the examiner has, the question paper setter has written enlist or explain. So why can't we say enlist the common masonry bricks used in projects, or we can say explain briefly the most commonly used bricks in masonry bricks used in projects. Then what demands does the building? All these questions appear to be, and then you see list the precautions to be taken in storing cement, which is at the remembering level. Now here the objection is 5 parts are to be attempted. These are only of 2 marks. So one has to look into the mark distribution also, which I'll come later. Now again you will see questions are okay. The first question is having lot many problems here. And then if you go by this question, which is included, write a short note on. Now when you pose a question, write a short note on carpet area, flow area, setback area. Now whether you want a person, how this carpet area is calculated, or what is carpet area, what is floor area, how it is calculated, setback area, what is that? So whether you want a person to simply give a definition of it, explain it, or give the formula to calculate the area, it is not clear. So the students would give different answers which will not be comparable to each other. So what is it that you expect? Be sure, never include a question, write a short note on. You are giving too much freedom to the learner and you will be in a problem when you have to. Now here there's one question on the applications, but rest are all remembering and understanding level. Then if I take another question paper, just to give you mechanical engineering, one question paper I can pick up. This is measurement and metrology. Now you see which the very first part, how beautifully the questions have been designed. It's 5 parts, 2 mark each. Distinguish between. Now when you say, is it visible?
No, ma'am.
Not visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, this is again and again you have to go to the and then मुझे लगता है ये लीजिए, no, this is top, then open, then you have this word file. Is it now visible? Ji.
Yes, sir.
Hanji. Now you see how beautifully the person has said, distinguish between direct and indirect. Now this is the way to write a simple question which is at understanding level. Define and classify. Very simple. Definition 1 mark, classification 1 mark. Differentiate between static and dynamic pressure, velocity and impact pressure 1 mark each. Then describe the construction of YouTube manometer and explain how it can be used for measurement for different pressure. Now here it is mark distribution is not given because it is 2 mark question only, and I think this question is not justified for 2 mark. One could only include describe the construction, or one could include explain how the YouTube manometer can be used for measurement for different pressures. Only one could be retained. Then define limiting errors. Beautifully, 1 mark. Derive the expression if it is not including more than 2 to 3 steps, it will do. Then define drift and explain input-output characteristics with different types of drifts. Now again this question, mark distribution is inappropriate because here a person has to first define, then explain input-output characteristics with different types of drifts. So this question is not justified for 2 marks. Then differentiate between accuracy and perception at the understanding level. Now then you see all these remaining questions are at the understanding level. When you say explain or you say define is remembering, explain is at the understanding level. When you say describe, now here you can see describe about construction. Why? What is to be about? Why can't I simply write describe construction and application of any 2 of the following: V-block or combination set or universal surface gauge. So what is it? Because it is a 5 mark question, 2.5 is to be given. So do I need construction? Do I need application? One has to be, because how am I going to distribute marks into construction and then application? Am I going to give 1 mark for construction and 1.5 mark for application? That is not indicated here. So you can see there are problems. Then you take up, what do you understand by? Simply write, explain the meaning of roundness or explain the concept of roundness, which is more accurate. And what are different methods for measurement of roundness? Explain briefly. Why can't I simplify this? Explain briefly the different methods for measurement of roundness. And again, you will see mark distribution is only 5. So how many methods you want? Because roundness also you are asking the person to give the definition, and there is no mark distribution given for this question. Then you can see explain construction and working principle. Again, 2 aspects. Are we going to give 2.5, or am I going to give 3 marks for construction, 2 marks for working principle? Not indicated anywhere. So objectivity is likely to be affected if I am not indicating the mark distribution here. Then you say wherever the construction, it is writing explain about construction. So nothing to be written about, but explain the construction of autocollimator. Okay, so this is another question paper. Let me just open up. I think let me once open up all the files and then share. Maybe then you will be able to, we will be able to switch to others. Then my point was, are you able to, do you agree with me that these are the problems which we face when we prepare a question paper or we try to see the question paper prepared by others? Then students face difficulty in attempting these question. So maybe चलो इतना ही ले लेते हैं, ज़्यादा time नहीं है अपने पास. So this is another. So here let me go back. Teams आज तो ये. So Teams, okay. Now open share, okay. So let me share the PowerPoint with you. PowerPoint नहीं आई अभी. Okay, this is the one. Okay. Another problem which we encounter in the question papers is the repetition of question paper. And you won't believe, while I was going through these questions, I found one question where the part was repeated. I'll just show the question paper when we go to the question paper. And then there are simple grammatical mistakes which are observable. And this happens only when the question paper is set by external examiner in case of end term examination, and the paper is not set by the person who is teaching the course. Only then this question arises. Sometimes it is a lengthy question paper and there's an appropriate allocation of mark. Let me just go to what you have said with respect to this. Are you able to see now? Are you able to see, friends?
Ma'am, we can see the PPT, quality of question paper.
But not able to see the... Yeah, आज आपका total screen sharing नहीं हो रही तो बार बार कट करना पड़ रहा है मुझे. Okay. चलो कोई बात नहीं. I'll अभी आप this is new tab Google Chrome. Okay, not new tab Google Chrome. Are you able to see now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so here let me quickly go through very short question paper out of syllabus that has been covered. Error in the data are also there. Then how to make it purposeful, how to make it relevant, how to deal with. So lack the purpose, lack the relevance. So questions out of the syllabus are not conveying the intention and there's lack of clarity. And then the coverage of whole syllabus unit-wise easily understood. These are what, right? Any three issues. Issues पूछा था आपके suggestions आ गए हैं. Then equality between number of questions from all units नहीं होता. Difficulty level varies and some questions need to be difficult because that is, if remembering level question is easiest. If you go to the creating level, that's going to be the most difficult question. And even when you go for explanation or application, you can think of a simple problem which can be solved by many. You can think of moderately difficult problem which 50% of the class members can solve, or you can put a highly difficult complex problem which only the brilliant student. So the question paper should have questions which are some easy, some of moderate difficulty and some of high difficulty level. Then lengthy questions, we have taken this point. Format restricts flexibility. Yes, because the universities do not understand and their rules and regulations are not as per the requirement of outcome-based education. So that more flexibility needs to be provided to the person who is teaching a course and setting a question paper. 3 hours duration is again a binding, fine, but there is a time limit. Still, conventional mode of written examination, agree. Weightage of all topics, that is not decided. Lengthy paper, okay. I'll explain how weightages can be ensured. Relative weightage of the concepts, fine. Selection of questions is not clear. The question should be related to practical, okay. So application and real world and world of work problems, they are not covered. Then reliability, validity, objectivity, these are the 3 questions which are concern the quality of question paper. All 3 are low. Then most follow Bloom's taxonomy. Yes, it should be followed because outcome-based education is based upon revised Bloom's taxonomy. Course objective should be mentioned. Question paper may not indicate the objective, but yes, while designing a question paper, one should know the course outcomes. Then question paper must be reliable. Okay, this is a suggestion. Repeated question is a trend. Yes, because when setting a question paper, we pick up the previous papers and we try to design a new question paper. And sometimes there's a lot of repetition over the years. But I came across a question paper in mechanical when I was analyzing in one previous course, where I could see that the same question has been repeated thrice, one as a short answer, then as a part of restricted essay, then it was a part of extended essay also. So we cannot expect a student to repeat the same answer thrice. And the question paper which I analyzed now, there also I found a part of the question paper which was completely a repetition, which I'll show. No practicality behind the work, okay? No original work. So question papers taken up from the textbooks, which test rote memorization, and there are no challenges posed to the learner, fine. Working for just fulfilling the criteria for getting research paper public. Are So maybe this has a flaw. UGC has now made this condition a little relaxed, this condition. So hope AICTE also does that. Reliability, objectivity, practicality, difficulty, value of each question. Okay, fine. Discriminate value of each question. Now, when you are talking of difficulty, discriminative index, that means if you are preparing an item bank, then you must have the difficulty level and the discriminative index for each item. How best the item or question discriminate between the high achiever and the low achiever, or between the people who pass that item or between the people who fail in that particular item. How best it discriminates. That is the discriminative index. Okay, fine. Then reliability, format, quality. I think most of your points have been taken up. Economical, no necessary steps or words. Traceable, capable of being traced to. Okay, repeatable. So you have explained those. Okay. Now the question comes, your suggestions I'll be taking little later. Let me go back to the PowerPoint presentation and just show you one or two more if you are interested. I don't know, char. Okay. So I have to see the time also. Stop sharing, open the, oh, open the shared, okay. So let me just give you one from electronics engineering. Nahin, ye to kuch aur aa gaya. But see another paper which I picked up is utilization and traction. So here it's electronics only. What is it?
Electrical.
Electrical. Hanji. So here also you will see why I've written discuss. Discussion is always between two or more than two people. So it is a written examination where you don't allow a learner to discuss anything. So discuss the advantages with whom is my question. So avoid writing. Here one can write either you want, because this is only a 2 mark question. So enlist any 4 advantages of electrical heating and you give half mark for each advantage. Or say explain any 2 advantages of electrical heating and you give 1 mark for the explanation built for each advantage. So you bring in objectivity, you bring in clarity. Likewise, discuss the principle of electric heating and its application. A principle ko you can critically analyze the principle, critically examine or critically comment on the principle, but you cannot discuss the principle here. So its application. So 1 mark, state the principle of electric heating and state its 2 applications. So 1 mark for the stating the principle, 2 applications, half a mark for each of the application. So one has to be clear. Now in this case, Determine the frequency required. This is a numerical. If you think it is only 1 or 2 steps, then it is justified for 2 marks. Otherwise, it requires more. Likewise, the other one. Establish the relationship between solid and plane angles. Okay. Define ठीक है. तो define करना, अब 4 चीजों को define कराना है या only because it is 2 mark. So at least 1 mark for the definition was required. So person has to look into the mark distribution also. ये अगले वाले ठीक है. So mark distribution where 4 are to be given, so half a mark is to be given. If there are 3, like 3 things are to be explained, how are you going to distribute 5 marks? किस चीज को आप date number दे रहे हो, किस चीज को आप 2 number दे रहे हो, it is not clear. And the person who is going to evaluate will not be clear. So these things, and then avoid the usage of discuss. देखिए कितनी बार है. And एक चीज which I found common in all the papers, जब भी वो second part को लिखते हैं ना, so they start the sentence, also explain, also discuss, also describe. So sentence should not start with also. So explain, कर देते ज़्यादा अच्छा था. So this is another question paper. So I think I've given you quite a good glimpse of what are the mistakes which are. I may share the file with the organizer and you can then see my comments on the various papers. Let me just open the tray and then go back to the PowerPoint and just for a quick revision of the steps, because I know कि जब OBE के context में the paper setting is discussed, people normally start with the competencies and then distribute those competencies. But my question is, as a teacher, I'm going to set up the question paper for class test, for the quizzes which I prepare or mid-semester test. In that case, I should not go by the course outcomes. If I'm sitting end-term examination, I need to start with the course outcomes and work backward. But if I am setting the class test 1, where I have only covered few topics, say 3 topics. So the very first step in setting a question paper is list the topics and the learning outcomes of those topics. Here you have taken building construction and estimation. If it is going to be the course, all the 11 need to find a place in the question paper. If it is going to be say a class test, then maybe the 3 topics, the first 3 topics which I have covered, out of the roughly 30% of the syllabus, then I need to take these 3 topics into account, and then I need to know the learning outcomes of these topics, because I need to prioritize what is to be assessed, whether remembering level learning outcome, understanding level learning outcomes. I may have posed questions in the class to assess the remembering level learning outcomes. I may have given them assignment where I tested or assessed their level of understanding of the topic. Now I need to put more focus on application and higher than it. So what is it that I need to assess? So determine the weightages to be assigned to various topics. So all curriculum documents these days include this kind of distribution of time. Say introduction to building material, how many instructional hours are needed, foundation, how many hours are needed, brick masonry, how many hours of teaching would be required. Say this is 15 hours which are required. So you are going to prepare a test which is of 30 marks, or you can think of 60 marks, depends how you set it. And now you have to find out how much weightage is to be given to the topic for which 7 hours were used. So you try to 7 divided by 15 multiplied by the 30 marks. So you calculate 14 marks are to be given out of the 30 to the topic number 1. Then the second and third topic get 8 and 8. This is the first initial step to determine the weightage to be given to the various topics keeping in view the instructional time. And the second thing which we need to think over is taxonomy for the blooms, and one should look into the verbs which are used there to write the learning outcomes, directly taken to formulate the questions also. So have a look at that revised Bloom's taxonomy given by Anderson and Kraftwall, and you have number of verbs enlisted over there. So make sure that you use the appropriate verb while you formulate a question. Thank you so much for the feedback, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
So friends, I on my behalf thank all of you for being in the session and participate in this by filling in the questionnaire, the Google form, and also raising few questions. And I also thank the organizing team for giving me the time to interact with all of you on the two important aspects, that's outcome-based education and some discussion on the setting question papers. So thank you very much. Over to the organizers.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for accepting our invitation, and you enlightened us with your vast experience. It was really very, very fruitful to, I believe, all of us. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you so much. And wish you all the best, all the participants.
And I believe we'll hear you in the future also.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you.
So thank you all the participants. So this is day 4 ended this way. Now the final day and 5th day. So we'll again meet at 10 a.m. sharp with the speaker, Dr. V. Sivakumar, who we have listed him in today also in the session 10. So tomorrow there will be 2 more sessions, and the final session 15 will be concluding. We'll have some quizzes, some interaction sessions with you all. So thank you all for being with us. Thank you all. Dr. Sekhar, is there anything else to convey?
Yes, sir. No, not at all, sir. So thank you, everyone. I will share the attendance cum feedback form in the WhatsApp group. So all of you requested to please fill by today only. It will be open up to 12 p.m. So you will fill by today itself only.
Yes.
Anything from participant side, direct feedback is most welcome. Ugrasen sir, you wish to say something?
Anything?
No, sir, it's okay, sir.
Any suggestion from your side? Any suggestion from your side?
Sir, it is so fruitful for us. But I think, sir, our only suggestion is if we able to conduct this type of workshop in physical mode, sir.
Yes, of course, the physical mode will be.
Yes, sir.
But we have AICTE is actually restricted all these FDP to be conducted online. So
yes, sir. Actually, sir, there is difficult to concentrate on online platform.
सर कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं DSC सर?
Yes. First of all, I will appreciate the efforts taken by the Dr. Rajesh Kumar and Dr. Sekhar for conducting this type of the seminars. And second thing, since I have completed my MTech from the NIT Chandigarh, and I have well known to the Tulsi Madam, other Chatterjee sir and other teachers.
चंडीगढ़ से सर 2 लोग थे, प्रोफेसर चैटर्जी और तुलसी मैम.